What's going on, guys? You got Quasi here for Quasi Animation Studio and Quasi Media Network. And right now, presently, we're in lesson 5. Had to take a break, so yesterday was an off day. So with that being said, let's look at what we're going to do today. Camera workflow and animation cleanup. Now, I changed the scene this time. We're not dealing with Crimson and her dad, but we are still dealing with her dad. But this time, he's going to face... We're going to look at one of my old shots. One of the old shots from season 3 of Rise of the Derulians. And, or ROD. So you hear me refer to Rise of the Derulians as ROD. So with that, I'm going to use that one of the shots from the fight scene from I believe it was episode 6 of season 3. We're gonna look at that. All right, so let's go check that out. Okay, so here we have this scene. Let's go to playback. So I cut off all of the background stuff. So this is all the background stuff. Okay, so I turn all that off. And so we just have them on screen only. And then over here, I have the Met cap on, and I have Met cap on over here also. So we have Zilker highlighted. But what I want to look at is the camera work. So right now, all of the cameras, is 4 cameras in the scene. And one of them is linked to an empty, but I don't think I was using the empty because I didn't see an actual, like anything for it. Okay, so and then each character has its own camera. So you have Gorham's camera and then you have Zilker's camera. Okay, so I'm going to close out a lot of this stuff that's here because some of these planes these are impacts. So we're not going to deal with the fix right now. There's a lot of stuff in this scene. And I was still learning here, so I'm going to be doing so that's one part of the cleanup process. This shot is 4,600 frames. So there's a lot of frames in here. Okay, so bear with me because I'm closing up a lot of stuff. So we have Zilker's camera down here. And I can go and actually search for something if I'm looking for a particular thing. That's why it's good to have things named. Oh my goodness, why did this do this? And I wish there was a way to collapse all of this at once, but there isn't. At least I haven't found one. All right. Okay, so if we go into, and I'm going to open up, let's open up a layout, right? And I go into the NLA editor. This is the NLA editor across the timeline, right? And it's pretty big. Okay, so the empty, like I said, has no animations on it. So if I want to deal with, let's say Zilker, right? So I'll just go Zilker. Oh my goodness, I typed everything but that. Okay, so when I typed it in, it didn't directly link anything. So all of this is okay. So I should be able to go and type in Zilker now. All right, and still didn't just give me that by itself. It should have, but it didn't. Okay. So I've yeah, see, like right here we have his all of his animation actions in the NLA editor. Let me close all of this. I need to go rename their bones, but let me close all this out. I don't know why all of that isn't in this one thing by itself. Again, because I was learning. So this is something you also learn from, is seeing how the mistakes I made in a lot of other stuff. So let me go and change the name of this armature to Armature Zilker. This way. Uh-oh. I still misspelled his name. Okay. And then we're going to change Gorham's to Armature Gorham. All right. Now, when I close this and there, so if I go off, all of this stuff is pertaining to Zilker for some reason. But when I click it off, then we have the 2 armatures here. We want to get to them quickly. I don't know why this has anything on it. There shouldn't be anything on the shader tree, but it is. Oh, I know what it is. It's their glow. Okay. So you see all of these, like for boots and clothing and stuff. That's because of the glow on their bodies. They are glowing, as you can see in the thumbnail. So pardon me. All right. Excuse me. All right, so the let's look back at Zilker's again. So again, it's these are all the actions that are in here, and then of course there's things for Gorham. So Gorham has all of his actions in here. Okay, and so this is how extensive it can become. So let's go in here. I'm going to come out of his thing and come over here. All right, so let's look at it in playback. And so let me call this NLA. All right, so let's go over to playback and let's just see it play back. All right. And not all, I did some tweaks on some of the cameras, so you can see the action change a little. Right here, I don't like this shot because it's supposed to be fast and it just wasn't a good shot. So we're going to do some camera switches. And this is only 800 frames in. This shot right here is the one that took too long to me. But I mean, it was a good distance shot. I just feel like I definitely need to clean up this head action. Where he turns his head. I know you probably see down here in this corner a body. Those are the people that Gorham left behind dead. You had to clean up that head action. Camera actions need to be cleaned up. So we're going to see how to work those things. And you see how those shots were really static? There's a reason why I did that. Because it's an anime and you're going to have some shots that are static. I don't like this right here. I want to change that. But they're thinking. He's thinking like, okay, it's more crucial than I thought it would be. And that smirk. That face off. Yeah, I think this scene was like 2 minutes, 3, 4. It's 24 frames a second, so. See, like right there, I need to fix those actions. We probably won't get to any of that today, but I definitely want to show you how to recalibrate your camera actions and your animations. You're almost there. See, this is an entire scene. You have to go look at the episode. And like even in the episode, my camera focal length was too far back, so it made everything look glitchy. It should have been tighter focal length. In the shot, Zelker's body was gone, even though you can still see it in there. It went below and then he vanishes. Of course, he's underneath all of that. So, you know, this is how it happens in scenes. So they don't just vanish, disappear. They, you know, you move them somewhere else in the screen or out of the camera shot. Okay, so with that, we're going to look at... so again, you don't see the rigs on these because I wasn't using it. I was using their armatures. So we kind of have to bear with me on that one. All right. So we're going to look at... Let's look at the camera actions. So this one, camera 1... Let's open it up, and this camera 1 plays this one time, and then after that, I think it basically goes between 3, 4, and 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I changed up this action just slightly because this was closer, and I pulled it back some. So again, you go in here, you can see it and tell that there's vectors on this, and they weren't vectored at first, and then of course there's a noise modifier on it. It wasn't like that when I first did the shot. The original shot doesn't have that at all. Okay, and if so, let me see something. Let's do this. Let's look at this in render view because it's just them. It shouldn't be too heavy, intense. Okay, so let's look at it. Let me go into the playback and do that. And you get to see boom, 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 boom. Okay, so I turned the bloom down too much. Let's bring it back up some. All right, there we go. roll back a little. And then they missed right there. I don't know what happened with the animation there, but he moved so fast that he didn't expect it. And the thing is if we stop it, go back, you can see that this is flowing in the wrong direction. Okay, so if I come into shading, say I click this and go over to this. Oh, not that. This. Ah, come on. Everything but that gets selected. Okay. So I can clearly see that this is flowing in the wrong direction. One, this is bad. This is very bad. So let me create a dope sheet and see all of the times that this. No, we can't. What in the world? Only show selected. Okay. So the selected one, selected. Okay. So this is the flow of that. So what I should have did was delete that. I'm trying to see how many frames is that. Okay. So it starts at, again, this is just a quick fix, right? So if I come in here and go delete, let's just delete keyframes. All right. Oh, delete all keys. Oh my goodness, I have done everything but delete all keys. I should not have hit that. All right. Clear all the keyframes. There we go. Okay, so I know it's going to start there. What I want to do is as it fires off. Boom. Okay, so I see that it fires off at about 750. Okay. So we want to see the direction. So we see it's in the positive, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pound frame forward. Let's say 60. Okay. And then see what happens. It might not work. Yeah. And I don't know why that doesn't work. It should, but it doesn't. It never freaking does. All right. So delete that driver. Take it to 0. I'm going to go all the way back to 1 because I know 750 is my area. I go to timeline. All right. And then I'm just going to go, because for some reason when I add these types of drivers, you have to do them at that frame. So I know, like, if I went 4600 divided by 750, and it probably would have worked. All right. But anyway, I'm just going to start here. And I'm going to make it 70. And I'm going to go back to frame 7. So you see how slow it's moving? So now I can change it and adjust it. So I'm just going to make it 10. See what happens. Oh, it's extra slow now. Oh, it's extra slow now. That's weird. Okay, hold on. Let's take it back to the beginning. Do what I said. Delete the driver. All right, so because it's divided by 4600 frames, so the only thing I can think is do like 320 and then see what happens. Nothing, because it's extra slow now. Take it all the way back to 1, and we're gonna just make it frame. So now it's just gonna go frame to frame, and it should have went frame to frame, and it didn't. Oh wow, okay. Let me delete that. And that's it. It should play. But it's not. Okay, so we're gonna do this the other way. I'm sorry for wasting y'all time. This time I'm just gonna start at 0. We're gonna go right click, single keyframe. You're gonna right click it, single keyframe. And then for the amount of time that it's going, and it bursts up. So it goes away. So it's just a 790. We'll just take it to that limit. And I'll just do 120 frames. Okay, so there we go. So my thing is trying to figure out what's the direction on this thing, because apparently that's wrong. So let's spin it on. Let me add a keyframe here. And on this one, I'm just gonna go forward. So, well, take it to 120. That's fine. Let's see what happens. There we go. All right. Excuse me. I also feel like this is not bright enough, even though go to full render view. All right, and go back to playback. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, so that animation right there, where he turns his head. Let's see where we at right here. Let's go over to that. Because I believe I used, because his head is turned in an awkward position. So anyway. All right, so matter of fact, we're about to do some double up. Getting rid of the bone I don't need. Okay, so let's go there. Noah and Gorham. So let's go to Gorham. Push 0 and it'll take us to where we need to go. So it's this animation. Open it up. This is the head animation. Clearly see right here where he turns it. Oh, it's not showing exclusive. Ooh. Okay, so this G, delete. All right, now I'm curious. Oh, never mind. We delete these, don't need them. I know it's rotation on the Y. Why is this not showing? Is it showing it? Yeah. Okay, so I did that by hand. That's what that is. All right. I know what it was. I hit record and then just did it. So let's find where it turns all the way. Stop right there. So all of these frames right here, I'm going to delete. You know, just look at it. So it's okay. Hold on. That's weird. Now, why is it when I deleted those, it didn't go back? Let me delete them. Dude, that is weird. Even if I go local, I mean global, is it on the Z? Interesting. Okay, I got an idea. Never mind. All right, so make sure I select all those again. And this time I'm just going to hit period key in here. And apparently, something's changed. Something's different here. I think because I used this from a different one. Because there's no way I should see all of that. I should just see what I've selected. It's so weird that it's not doing it right. Okay, you see these little, it's just little things that happen sometimes. Anyway, so since apparently I'm not able to just select what I'm looking at, I don't get it. Let me come over here, go to view, select it only. Okay, never mind. I see what happened. I'm gonna do sync visible range because I'm thinking that I had that picked or selected. Okay, so these are not in any way Bezier. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna hit, these are selected. I'm gonna hit Alt O. And I'm going to do it like twice just to see what happens. All right. I don't like it, but I'm going to deal with it, I guess. So how crooked this is. I don't like how crooked this is. So I'm going to hit C and I'm going to select all of this. Hit N, come over to animate. You probably don't have animate, but don't worry about it. All right. And I'm going to do push pull. So animate allows you to deal with your keyframes and curves. Okay. So if I come over here, I can overshoot or whatnot. And when you load it up, it'll, you know, of course, you load everything into preferences or whatnot. You can get animate from GitHub. Just look it up. Animate meaning that it is spelled Let's go to it. I ain't gonna just because that's annoying. All right, so it's a anim aid. Okay, anim aid. So that's it right there. Anim aid is free blender add-on. Okay, so you can go get that and it will help you. So anyway, I come over to the cogs. I hit overshoot, and he'll press this little circuit. Now you can do it the other ways, but the reason why I'm pressing it because I want to try to get these close as possible. I'm going to add another one, and I want to add blend to neighbor. Again, we're going to overshoot. Don't forget to save. And I'm trying to get these to get as close as possible to the next one. Matter of fact, let me go blend ease. Overshoot. No, they're still not linking. Something's off. If I go smooth, I don't like that, but I do want to stretch it out a little bit. I also feel like these on the back right here are off, so I'm gonna select them. Oh, what happened there? No, let's not do that. What is happening there? Why did it select all of that? I have no clue why they did that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back, hit T again, go Bezier, because I want these Bezier, and then I'm gonna go push pull. And I'm gonna bring all this down. Okay, so this area right here is weird to me. So I feel like these in the between the middle here, because all of these playing a part in it turning. I'm gonna go and grab them anyway and delete them. There we go, our curve right there. All right, so here I'm gonna delete these. I don't need them. And I'm gonna delete this one. I don't need it. This one also. Okay, so from the graph editor, I'm gonna hit V and go free. I'm gonna GY and pull this up some so his head turns. And then I'm gonna grab that end one and I'm just gonna pull it up a little and this one down some. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, okay, so here when it snaps, I'm gonna push this over up on the X. All right, don't think I need that one either. Make this one free. Okay. Let's make it one gigantic arc, but I also feel like this one's off a little bit. I'm gonna push it in some, see where it's at. Okay. So again, this is just a small cleanup. Okay, so I do want this to hold a little on that in that direction. So I'm gonna take this keyframe right here. Okay, being as we see clearly it's not down here. I don't know why it's not showing me that by itself exclusively. Oh, never mind. Okay, so here on the Y, I want to grab this keyframe and I want to copy and paste it. All right, so I'm gonna scale Y. Let's get tight in there because I see, uh-oh. Let me do this instead. All right, cool. So since these two are kind of conflicting, I'm gonna help it out. Pushing this in some because these two are definitely conflicting. So I feel like I need to bring this one down so they're not conflicting so much. Same thing here. Well, let me turn this. Okay. All right. But I want these two to hold. So what I'm thinking is bring this down flat. I have no clue what is happening in there right now. Okay, so that's turning way too slowly. All right. So I'm going to bring this back over, grab this too, GX, and fix this one because that one shouldn't have came over that much. All right, turn this a little by itself, the whole thing. Okay. Again, this is about finding that space. All right. Okay, so it kind of settled in a little bit. All right, so see that it's stuttering some there. I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to hit T and I'm going to go Bezier. And again, we're dealing with spline work now, so you're not just in Kansas anymore. So it's slowly going down. This slowly coming back up. So I know some of these keyframes I just don't need. So I'm gonna delete these in the middle. And just delete those keyframes. Okay. This way the ride's a little smoother. All right, so I don't like how abrupt that is right there. So delete these two keyframes. I'll make these two free. And we're gonna do some work on that. So I'm gonna delete that one. There we go. Okay, so that's the only thing I don't like about this part right here, because it definitely made that kind of like pop a little. Oh, okay, never mind. That's this is the X. Okay, so the X is also Y. I keep forgetting that I'm over here looking at just the Y. Don't forget you got other stuff too, people. Okay, so let me grab these. Gonna go Bezier. And for this one and this one, I'm gonna go free. I'm gonna delete this keyframe, don't need it. Grab this outside one, push it out some. All right, I think this ought to come down to kind of level the playing field. Delete these. This one's too close in, gonna slide it out some. All right, see what I got. Okay, so that's not too bad, but this stretch of land right here is just, ugh. All right, so select all of that, delete those keyframes. I'm gonna turn these into a Bezier T, Bezier. Okay, so these are too close together. Delete one of them. This one should be good. I'm gonna make this free. I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna pull it out some and down. All right, so now I can grab this one to come out a little bit more. Much better. So then it goes back to doing all the other stuff. So like this turning side to side to side is right here on the Y. So let's go back to the Y. I'm just gonna select all of that. Well, all of this. Hit T, Bezier. I'm gonna make every last one of those free. And we're gonna go and snap in tight. Okay, so here I'm probably gonna get rid of this one just for the sake of it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you see how it snapped? All right, let's pull it out some. And then this one on the bottom, I'm gonna delete it. Grab this on the end and I'm gonna push it out. So now it's just more of a curve. Okay, so you see how that worked, right? All right, so I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna push it over just a little. And this one the same, just a little. Okay, see what we get. Okay, so how it kind of stuck a little bit. So I'm gonna push this one out. Did I make this one free also? Yeah, I don't like how close that is, how tight that is in there. Ugh, that's not good. All right, so let me see what I get. Yeah, that's not bad. It's like kind of sticking a little too hard right there. So let me see what I get here. Okay, here is where it's sticking a little too much. I'll delete that one, push this one over, grab this end, pull it out. So another thing is I'm probably going to take that and lift it a little. This one is probably now a little too far in the dump. All right, see what we get. Better. All right, so it's just those little bitty tweaks from inside the graph editor. So this is something you have to get accustomed to, because it's not going to just work because you want it to just work. All right, so sync visible range. Did I get it? No, I did not. All right. Okay, so same thing here, sync visible range. I thought I did that. Oh, the bottom one's not done. Never mind. Sync visible range. All right. So all of these are linked. Okay. So now when I go and I look at this playback, I want to redo his arm also. So let's go in here, go back in there again. And I know that his arm is moving from, let's just pick these. Let me come in here, pick these. Okay. So I'm not sure which one it is. Let me see. Is it this one? What about that one? All of them. All three. Okay. I just want the arm. All right. So I see that this is probably linear. Yeah, it's linear. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to change that from linear to Bezier. Now you see how when I did that, right, what happened? When I go back to linear, it's way different compared to if I go back to Bezier. So I go back to Bezier. I know already what I need to do here. I'm going to have to turn this arm back a little. So let's go back to local. And I'm going to turn it just ever so slightly. Ooh, it's on the inside of that. Let me undo that. Let me go back here. All right. So I see that these two are not sitting on top of each other. So I'm going to just move them around. Uh-oh. Click the other, delete it, push this one back one frame. Okay. He's holding. And because that part of his arm is moving a lot more smoothly, it just works. Okay, so let me grab this. This is the rotation. I do not need scale. Delete rotating on the Y. I'm going to make them free. And I'm going to grab this one. No, this one. And I'm going to take it. No, not that one. This one. Yeah, this one. And I'm just going to push it down ever so slightly. So it has like this bit of a, like, okay. Kind of a spring off. All right, so then the same thing is here. I'm going to go to the arm here, and I'm just going to go Bezier. This is on the Y. Let's get rid of these scales. Make it free. V free. Grab this one. I don't know why it's not moving any. It's totally not moving. Oh, because it's not over it. Never mind. Okay. You can't see it because it's not over it. All right, so I'm going to push this down a little like I did that one. All right. Okay. Let's go again and ride the train. And now you see how it sort of jumped back? Now, I don't like that. I don't want that effect. So I'm going to push this back up. Let's just get a direct turn. There we go. Now that turn back, I don't like. So let me go and fix that turn back because I just think that is just crappy. All right, so yeah, this turn back is just, ugh. All right, let me push this up some. It's almost symmetrical now. Let me see. That's a lot better. I don't like this tilt on the head. And I know that is literally a Z thing. So let me grab these, push them open. So that is definitely linear. Go Bezier. I'm gonna push this one back one. All right, make it free. I'm gonna push it out some on that. I don't think I need this keyframe, get rid of it. This one free also. Gonna pull it out a little. Let's see. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, so something as simple as that, just figuring out what shots need to be changed, how they need to be changed, and then making the appropriate changes. Okay. So let's go and play with this camera here because this camera is a little too static for me. And I believe this is Gorham's camera. So we're going to go to Gorham's camera. It's right here. And oh, where is it? Okay, here. So Gorham's camera. And when I come out the bones, compose mode, click the camera. Now we have the camera action. Okay, so what I want to do first off is I'm going to go to the camera action, go on the X, I'm going to go to modifiers, and we're going to add noise because I don't want it to sit still. Make it 60.03 with a depth of 2. That's it. And then I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to give it to the Z. And then let's see what we get just with that. Go into the playback. This way the camera's not just sitting still. And I don't have to do a lot. I just want it just to move just enough. Okay, and that's kind of the sort of like the whole entire point to just simple stuff, because again, this is zooming in on him, right? And then it's pretty much static the rest of the time. So I don't want it to sit still. So the best thing you can do is add a little noise. Okay, because if we go in here and we click it, we see how the noise affects it. Okay, across the board. All right, so and we're looking at it and it's shaking a little, and it has these little minor movements. Nothing so drastic as to whatnot, but let's say I change the offset. All right, let me go back to that beginning of the shot. Back into playback. Just something subtle. And again, this is an old shot, so you kind of have to pardon like the animation because I wasn't going to just switch it up, but I do know I needed to clean it up. And I didn't do too bad in the cleanup. And even here, where we have this camera, we go to, I want to say Zelker's camera, and you come into here, and we know we can go up to, I just go Zelker. Let me go cam. I give a camera. Why does it not just go to what I'm asking for? I really genuinely don't get that. It's like it just refuses to give me what I asked for. I genuinely don't get it. All right. Okay, so here's Zilka's camera. Go to there. All right, so if I come here and do the same thing, we see that it is a simple zoom in. I'm going to vector that. So we're going to hit V, vector. I'm going to come in here, and if for some reason there's a scale on it, get rid of that. And then again, on the modifiers, I'm just going to paste. That's it. So now when we look at this playback on this shot, we get a little movement outside of what's already there. This way it doesn't just sit static. So now with shots like this, now let's go back to that. Now that shot went to camera 3. Okay, so I know camera 3 is way up here at the top. Go up here to camera 3. All right, so we look at camera 3 and we see camera 3 is giving us a zoom in, because it starts right there. It starts right in the thing and then it pops out just a little, goes in to show that action, pops back out again. It's playing catch up, and it switches because he is behind him all of a sudden. Okay, so again, if I want to add a little bit more variation, this time I would do the same thing. I would still do the same thing, but this time I'm going to make this not as pronounced. Okay, so I'm going to go 0.1. All right, and then on this one I'll do the same thing. I'll just change it by hand, 0.1. Okay, but I'm going to make this one 40 on the Z. All right. And let's look at it in playback. Just little stuff like that, okay? And then of course this time it's still on 3. So if I come back here and we see where it's at, it's still on 3. So when you see the playback, it still gives you just a little motion. All right, so this time it switched over to Zelker's camera. I'm gonna go back to Zelker's camera. All right. So we see here that it's on Zelka's camera. And of course, I can go and vector these shots. So we're going to vector those shots, come in, going to do the same thing, going to add those same mods. All right, so it gives it just a bit of variation. Go back to playback. This way the motion is not so stable or still, and you get just a little bit. So it's still there. It's switched over to camera 3, so it's no longer doing it. So it's back to his camera now. So now when we see that camera, let's go back to Zelka's camera in that shot. Okay, where it just sat still. Where is it? Okay, here, sitting still. So it says Zelka's cam, right? But this is at the end of that shot. This is not, you see there's nothing else after that, right? That is literally after the end of that shot. Okay, and it just sits there for that long. Now, I messed up as far as I'm concerned on that. So what I'm going to do is come over here. I'm going to hit end. I'm going to go to strip. I'm going to go down to action clip. And I'm going to stretch this out to 1969. Right? And I'm just going to take this last frame. I'm going to copy and paste it. Okay? Because now it's going to get that noise. This way it's not just sitting still. So when I go back to the playback, and then that motion, now we get a little motion, and you don't really have to do a lot with the character. All right, so that's one of the things that I wanted to show you guys, was how to take shots that you already have and then clean them up so that they're not as, they don't feel as clunky. Okay. Let's do some, let me add the buildings, put the set back in here. Let it load up. It's atmospherics and everything. Okay, so this is in playback. Yeah, see, I know that one. That time it sparked. I really want to change that shot. It's annoying. Okay, so when he turns around, let me go back to that. Right, so when he turns around, and it goes to that camera. This is camera 3. So let's look at camera 3. All right, and I want to change that and give it some variation. So I see clearly that camera 3 is one, it needs to be linear. I really genuinely don't like the way that looks. I tend to do linear shots unless I need to do Bezier shots. All right, come back over here. This way it's some variation. It's not sitting still. See how that makes the entire animation change. Sometimes you don't have to do a lot. You just need, maybe the camera can be the thing that helps you out. Okay, so in this case, we're on camera 2. Okay, so let's go and play with camera 2 because clearly it probably needs a little help. All right, I'm gonna do do the same thing here. I'm just gonna add these same things. That's just gonna change. All right, and go back into playback and go. This way now there's a little bit of variation in the shot. It's not just sitting still. And that makes the shot way different compared to what it used to be. Like way different. Like if I was to show you the actual shot, right? So let's go look at the original shot. Okay. Instead of going to what's the place? To YouTube to look at it. We'll just look at it right here. All right. So let's speed up to that point. Okay, so we look at the original shot. And you can see the difference. Major difference. Even the lighting's different because I changed it. So and those, because the camera's still not moving, it changes up the entire scope. Of course, we can see the energy flowing in the wrong direction. Little things that I didn't notice then because I was in a hurry. This is why I say take your time. Think about it. And you see the difference in the animation and the camera play compared to what we just refined it to. See a major difference. Okay, so now if I come here and I go and I just look at this and we play it back to, okay, let's go to there. All right, so now play it back. You see a major difference there. It just changes the feel of the shot up so much. Head moves more smoothly. Now that part where his head kind of goes down a little bit, I do want to smooth that out some. Even his head shake is different. It's better, smoother. See here, you got a little camera action. Here, same thing. Camera movement is different. Same thing here. Camera movement is different. So I know this is where we stopped the shot. Well, no, I went a little further. Yeah, I went to this point. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you what happened with the shader. So on the last one, none of this was turned on. Like, it was all turned on, but it wasn't as bright. Like, this was not at 3. And one thing that was different was that there was no contrast, none. This is what it originally looked like. So I added contrast a little while ago. So now we have a deeper tone of colors. Okay, so now those shots we haven't touched. I haven't touched. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, is how to take your shots or existing animations or even build on those animations. Like, I could have completely just changed the way I did these shots with the cameras and everything. Okay, so excuse me, don't be afraid to try stuff and see what it looks like in camera. Just go and just have fun with it, man. Don't get stuck on trying to be Pixar. Their stuff is what it is. They have their style. Create yours, as I have mine. And again, like we say, we can clearly see the difference between this and something else. Like if I was to look at later animations for ROD. All right, so you might say, well, man, I mean, that was that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, let's look at, I'll go to episode 10. I'm sorry, is it 10? Yeah, 10. And let me see, let me go to shot. This shot. Okay, so if I open this shot, right, this shot right here alone, we just look at it from what it genuinely looks like. Of course, there's a plane there and whatnot. Okay, and I believe Gorham's inside of this. Yeah, he's okay. So that's the explosion plane. You're not gonna see it ahead of time. So we look at it from the inside of the shot and we play it back. Okay, so if I was to load this up and just go and look at where it's set, I'm gonna set this to 16 because I don't want any trouble. Okay, so this one's different in reference to its bloom, and also it's all those presets are set, high contrast, etc., etc. Okay, so if I look at its samples, I mean not samples, its format is 720, 1080. I mean 1280 by 720. So we go all the way into full shaded render view. Let's see what we get. You can tell the difference in animation from when I first started versus now, because season 3 is where I was learning a lot of little things. This is season 4 where my animation was way different, but me doing my versus series helped me learn a lot of things, and then start dealing with characters that I created with Human Generator definitely helped, because you have to do a little bit more planning with those characters. The anime characters, not so much. And then it's just a simple static shot. Okay, he's just, like he's just in a position firing off, and people think, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this cool technique. I'm like, you understand how many bones you have to move for that? So we go here and then we look at Gorham. He's just defending. That's all he's doing. He's just defending against it. Okay. and then the shot switches to him. So we see him just defending against the shot. It's just a simple thing. So basically we're dealing with just this energy that's just flooding him right now. And it gets too much. This is 968 frames. So there, the little explosion playing. Let me see my playback. Follow. All right. Not going to save because I don't want to replace this with Blender 3. This is Blender 2.91 stuff, so I'll leave it like it is. But you see, just simple actions like that, just keeping it simple and not overthinking it. Okay, so let's say I go to this one. And we're going to turn the shader on. So this is him standing over him. Like I could have done the last one, but this is him standing over him.
You make for a good show, but our princess is
just simple actions.
You make for a good show.
And even there, see his mouth slightly opens. His mouth slightly opens. See, because he's like, what? Just those little actions that you can do to change how your animation, change the scope or the feel of your animation or the shot you're making, your shot you're set out to display. So this one's 1122 frames. Again, a lot of those camera actions that I would use with the noise or whatnot, are not done with this. I didn't really start doing that until I started doing season 2 of Versus, because here in season 3 I learned how to be more frugal with my camera movement versus just having a lot of static shots.
Your recovery hasn't been completed. You are nothing.
Hold on, let me make sure this is following. Yeah.
More than a mere mortal, helpless like a child. But no matter, I could crush you even if you were using your Ravager power.
And then it takes off, like the shot here. I'm gonna show the final shot. It's just little stuff like that.
To me, boy. I just needed to see what I was up against, and you didn't disappoint.
Boom. Just little simple stuff like that. And just keeping it simple, and then it switches to the other shot. So now let's go and look at the original shot. This is season 4. So we're gonna go back to render episode. Season 4. What is it? Episode what? Episode 10. Okay. Had to remember that. Episode 10, Random Land. I'm gonna look at the final shot. Okay, so this is the final shot. And this is all of it together. So bear with me. There's no sound or music or whatever because I decided to go against it. And keeping things simple. You see, like the camera motion is why I wanted it to be static. This is anime. Remember, anime, there's a lot of static shots. And then, of course, I added camera shake after the fact. This is in DaVinci. So I use DaVinci for my edit as my video editing software. Just little simple actions. They don't have to be complicated. But no, or they can be. I have some that are complicated. When he talks, the world shakes.
You are nothing to me, boy. I just needed to see what I was up against. And you didn't disappoint.
Yo. Right, okay. And then, of course, the last shot plays into it, too, also.
You make for a good show. But our princess is in another castle.
And it's just little stuff like that that you just, so it's a matter of figuring out your shots and then saying, okay, how do I want this to play out? And I find that often most people don't they just want to throw some stuff in the scene and then say, "Oh, I animated." I'm like, "That's fine. You can say that. Not gonna say no to that." But one of the uh, best things, one of the most, um, I can't think of how to put it. One of the worst things you can do to yourself is just start putting stuff in the scene and then trying to learn it in the scene. I always say start a new Blender uh, scene and then just play with the characters and get used to moving the armatures and get used to doing certain things. So let me go here and check all of my settings. I'm going to change this to 16 instead of 64. I realize in anime it's just better to just do it at 16 samples. Like here when it says 64 for the render, you don't need 64 for the render. Not for the anime. All right, so let's load this up. This scene is a lot more texture intense compared to most of my other scenes. Excuse me. So yes, you see it's still loading. Alrighty then. Because I have a lot of, like trees or whatnot in here, and I used the Blender sapling tree add-on for that. So the one that comes with the actual with Blender. So the anime characters shouldn't take long to come in, but sometimes they do, I guess you say. Of course, they got a little anime fire here. Now, sometimes you can be animating and it doesn't always exactly come out the way you want, but you just kind of just stick with it. You be like, you know what? I'm just gonna use it. And I realized doing season 4 of ROD, that's Rise of the Derulians. For those of you that may have started watching this later on, or skipping forward or whatnot. So for ROD, I realized like when I was doing season 4, one of the things that I noticed was that sometimes I would just kind of do something, put a lot of energy into one thing, and then find myself not doing as much or putting as much effort and energy into another shot. Like for instance, this one is annoying because it's the trees are lagging it out. So let me go to here and turn off the trees. It's going to turn them off in the viewport, so you're not going to see them. It's still chugging.
Why have you come?
Let me completely turn them off.
Here. We need to stay apart just in case.
All due respect, Alaran, but this isn't like you. We have never hidden from a foe. Why should we start now?
Because this foe isn't another immortal. At least not in the usual sense. This foe is a celestial and the likes we couldn't hope to stop with our physical prowess.
What are you telling me? That there is someone or something out there that is capable of thrusting even you down to the depths?
So if we look at that shot, right? So I know that was episode, I think I went to what, 7? Yeah. And we look at the final shot. We look at the shot for that one, right? It's submitted in something long.
Why have you come here? We need to stay apart just in case.
All due respect, Alaran, but this isn't like you. We have never hidden from a foe. Why should we start now?
Because this foe isn't another immortal. At least not in the usual sense. This foe is a celestial and the likes we couldn't hope to stop with our physical prowess.
What are you telling me? That there is someone or something out there that is capable of thrusting even you down to the depths?
And you see the simple little actions for each action.
The Dark One's
For
found another
words or
host.
whatnot.
What? When did they do this? I thought you had sealed them away.
No.
See, even the little slight movements in his feet or whatnot. Let's go back. This little slight action, see?
The incantation to only seem to remove them from me.
And he just did not do those lines well at all.
The host is like anyone we've ever known. He's a Mazil.
Weren't they forbidden by the council as well as by us?
Yes. But don't forget that we fell after a Zuthos insurrection. Therefore, the Celts have to learn how to become soft and allow such a union to happen.
Yeah, he did not do the lines well at
Child
all.
Parents.
No, I haven't. But you need to leave here now and don't come back unless I summon you.
No need to rush. I've got
Something I'd like to share with you. And then you see him get kind of terrified there. Let's go back. And you see him lean back, and even he looks over. So it's one of those things where, again, like I said, this is 2,720 frames. But yeah, so as it plays forward, so let's shoot it to forward. Now, if I roll back some, again, him showing up in the scene. You see, oh yeah, let's look at the scene. So this is the the actual scene. So this is like a beach scene, and you have this gigantic water plane that I'm using for the clouds. For the sake of the clouds, I'm using so when you look in here and you see the clouds, it's from the actual HDRI. All right, so he pops in. Okay, so let's go back some. All right. Okay, so this is just a simple plane. Just keeping effects simple as possible because, of course, it's in camera, so you're just going to see that, and it happens so quickly you don't think much of it, right?
No need to rush. I've got something I'd like to share with you.
Okay, and this is the thing that I want you guys to focus on. Finding the shots, because when you're animating or when you're putting a story together, you're just taking pictures. So what's the best picture for that portion of the storytelling that you're doing? Don't think about the overall shot or the overall scene as though it's one thing. It is literally several pictures where you're telling a story within that frame of pictures or that set of pictures. So when we go back, let's say we go back, all right, and right here, I'm telling the story. I'm telling the story I'm telling right here. What in the world? Oh, that's the light. So we're telling the story that we're telling in this picture right here.
And don't come back unless I summon you.
And then it switches. Okay, so this is another. This is what I wanted. This is the end result shot I wanted. This is what I was concerned with. Him still looking at the fire. Him kind of sitting in his melancholy. And then, boom, we get this different situation that changes up everything. Boom. And then,
no need to rush.
Okay, because I want to tell a story in the reference to that shot. So let's look at it from the full shot, right? So let's go to the full thing. It's towards the end. Okay, hold on. Let me pause this real quick because I got this music playing. I need to mute it. All right, so let's go and look at it. All right, let's beef it up. And again, this is about finding those shots. All right, so here, seeing the shot from the side. All right, so even the tone of the music.
Therefore, the Celts have to learn how to become soft and allow such a union to happen.
Have you learned who's the child's parents?
No, I haven't. But you need to leave here now and don't come back unless I summon you.
And that's one of those things, guys.
No need to rush. I've got something I'd like to share with you.
And again, framing the shot. And that's what you want to do, is make sure you frame the shot. Okay, so when you're trying to find how you want to tell your story, you have to frame the shots accordingly. Okay, so don't get caught up in trying to do these like overly expedient quick movements, because that's like trying to figure out, I don't know how to put it in words. Don't think that you're gonna do something like this where you have two people facing off and it's just going to work out because you just put some animation on them. It's like I could have easily went and ripped game animations and had them do those animations, and then it's not going to work because you have to position them, and then you need to know how to deal with your graph editor, learn how to deal with your NLA editor, and there's plenty of tutorials out there that show you how to do that. So you kind of have to bypass this. Oh, I want to do a video. Oh, I want to do an animation. You have to bypass that and say to yourself, okay, hold on, I can't get to that yet. I don't even know how to deal with that graph editor. You just saw me using the graph editor a little while ago right here, and you probably were like, what is he doing? Okay. And so now if I, because we're at the beginning of this. So if I come here and I go to Zelker to his armature, right? So we go to Zelka's armature and we see the first animation here. Boom. Okay, so if I come into the first animation, all right, so I'm gonna grab his bones. Okay, turn his bones on. Let me just grab these. All right, so I can get close. All right, so the only thing here is that what you're seeing here when their arms are moving is that I have an animation on this here that jiggles the arm. That's why when you see it in camera, all you get is that shot. But the rest of their body is sitting still. Okay. All right. And he didn't move only because this is open. If it was closed, he would have moved. All right. So that's one of the things you kind of have to stop and say to yourself, all right, how do I frame this shot? So we see the opening shot framed. And then we get to our second shot, boom, and they hit. And then we're going to slide back and then we get to the third shot. Because I want to frame it a certain way because it's supposed to be epic. And then wham, 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 wham. So we to our fourth shot, to the fifth shot, sixth shot. We're still within the same shot. It's just multiple clips within that shot, but I'm framing it out. Boom, wham. Okay, so that's the thing you want to do is figure out how to do that. Get your animations done first. This is how I do it. I get my animations done first and then I deal with the camera. Sometimes I do them interchangeably. Sometimes I'll deal with the camera as I do my animations because I've seen people like get their camera animations done first and then start working on the animation behind it. I'm just like, that doesn't make sense to me. But then I see people that work on the animation and then deal with the camera work. Because maybe that's a part of the animation I want to focus on with the camera. And if I animate the camera first, then it won't necessarily work. But with that being said, man, I hope this helps someone. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions or whatnot, please ask them in the comment section. And of course, you can come and check out the Discord where I will answer any and all questions. If I know, if I don't, we will learn together. Nothing but love.